Coming up on today's edition of the Bulls Report, we have a loaded show because Shams Charania dropped a bombshell report, I guess, around the Bulls and Zach LaVine following the Zach LaVine injury news that we'll get to here in a second. But also, the Wizards are reportedly interested in Patrick Williams. Pretty interesting, so we'll dive into that too. But my name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome in. I say we just kick it right to Shams right now, as he did have the report. If you guys did not know, Zach LaVine will miss an additional 3 to 4 weeks to treat right foot inflammation. And I'm not trying to, the game BS. I'm not trying to call BS on this injury, but it just seems perfectly fit that once the trade rumors start to pick up around himself, that he goes out with a foot soreness, and now it turns out it's a little inflamed. Just a little sketchy on that part, which is why I obviously do think the trade rumors and the trade will inevitably happen around the Bulls and LaVine. But then Shams also mentioned this, kicking the NBA Central here, one of the best Twitter accounts possibly ever on Twitter. So, but he said, Shams mentioned that Zach LaVine is scheduled to return around mid-January, coinciding with the time D'Lo and Rui Hachimura become eligible for a trade. So super interesting that even Shams even said that. But, also it's kind of like a no-dust statement from him as well, because we've already heard all the reports around the Lakers and Zach LaVine, and it really does seem like that could possibly happen. But I also have some more thoughts on how that could possibly work from the Bulls side of things here in a second. But guys, make sure you are subscribed to the channel to stay up to date around the latest rumors around LaVine and the Bulls. We do fully expect a fire sale to be happening in Chicago, so you don't want to miss a thing. Any report that we get from any insider, we'll have a video about it ASAP. So subscribe, help me out, make me look good for my bosses, help us out here, and hit that sub button. But the trade idea, Zach LaVine for Rui and D'Lo, what would it look like? This is the one that I've kind of seen floated around there on the internet, Twitter, and just the streets. But it was Zach LaVine heading to Los Angeles for D'Lo, Rui, and a first-round pick swap. I think it was actually 2029 first-round pick swap for the Bulls. And listen, I get this, and we'll dive into this first from the Lakers side of things. Like, I understand the need for the Lakers to kind of want that over-the-top scorer when paired up with D'Lo, or when paired up with Bron and AD. I get it. They don't have really an elite shot maker from that side of things, besides obviously Austin Reeves, but we can all agree LaVine is a better scoring option than Reeves. But I'm not sure they fully want LaVine. And the Big Three era, in my opinion, is starting to die. We've seen more of these duos with really elite teams around them and elite role players kind of be the standard for winning an NBA championship. Like we saw obviously all with the Nuggets last year, the two-man game of Jokic and Murray, and then just a great plethora of role players around them. So I think the Lakers would almost rather lean towards a Bron AD duo and then a more complete team around him instead of kind of shipping off a couple of their good role players for a tertiary scorer in Zach LaVine. But I will say this, if I kind of want to play devil's advocate with myself, they would still have a pretty complete team. Like, even if you go make that trade of Rui and D'Lo, you would still have, from the Lakers side of things, Austin Reeves, Zach LaVine, like a guy like Gabe Vincent, obviously Bron and AD, Jackson Hayes, Cam Reddish, who's been playing a good amount for them. So you can kind of play both sides, but if I had to predict it right now, I think the Lakers are okay. And I've seen their fans on Twitter all the time just saying that like they don't want LaVine. They're kind of out on him. So I don't know if the Lakers would fully, buy into him, but, we'll obviously have to wait and see. But let's kick it to the Bulls side of things. First off, I just want to say this. If the Bulls are trading LaVine, it obviously depends on the haul you are going to get and what players other teams are willing to offer. But I would want picks over a player. And plus, if you are going to get D'Lo, we've seen the two guys in the Bulls roster that have really taken a step up is Ayo Dosunmu and Coby White. Well, adding D'Lo to that backcourt, I think would just, take away shots away from them, because we have also really seen them take another step without LaVine in the lineup. I mean, the stats don't lie with these two. I mean, Coby White, in 38 games played in his NBA career without Zach LaVine, I think that's a pretty serviceable sample size. He's almost averaging 20 a game, 5.1 assists per game, and 4.2 rebounds on great efficiency as well. And then Ayo Dosunmu in 22 games without LaVine. It's kind of that do-it-all player, that Bruce Brown type of role player that we've compared him to all the time on the channel, with going with 13.1 points per game, 5 assists per game, and 4.3 rebounds per game. So that's why trading for a guy like D'Lo or just another guard in this backcourt, I'd be against doing that. I'd want them to keep developing these two guys, because I think these two guys are turning into really good, just actually winning players in the NBA, which Bulls don't really have too much of. But we'll kick it back to this, the trade idea. LaVine for D'Lo, Rui, and a first-round pick swap in 2029. Would you accept this trade? A for accept or D for decline? Really curious to see what you guys have to say down below. But I would say no. I would be against this trade. I would rather go get 2 or 3 first-round picks for LaVine if you can get that. Don't get D'Lo. I don't really see the benefit of getting a guy like D'Lo and Rui. Let the young guys develop and go get more picks, and let's start this rebuild if you are going to trade Zach LaVine off this team. But coming up here in just a second, another guy that could be traded from the Bulls, Patrick Williams. I haven't really talked about him getting traded too often here on the channel, but we'll dive into the report about the Wizards being interested in him in here just a second. You guys know what I mean. But I do want to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, Prize Picks. It's daily fantasy made easy. It's a ton of fun to play Prize Picks. It's my favorite thing to do when I'm watching any NBA, college basketball, NHL, whatever it may be, they have it covered. It is daily fantasy made easy. You pick 2 or more players, choose more or less on some projected stat types, and start seeing the cash roll in today. The Bears are taking on the Lions this weekend. This is the lineup I'm rolling with. I'm going with more than Justin Fields, passing yards at 198.5. More on DJ Moore, 70.5 receiving yards. Then I'm going to fade the St. Brown brothers. I'm just going to take less on both of their receiving yards in this matchup. I think the Bears can actually hang around with the Lions this weekend. So that's the lineup I'm rolling with. You guys can either fade my picks or you guys can ride with my picks, but do it at prizepicks.com/CLNS. If you guys use that promo code CLNS, you'll get a first deposit match up to $100. Take advantage. It's a ton of fun. Makes the boring games even more entertaining. Well, let's kick it to, again, the greatest Twitter account of all time, NBA Central. They got this report from Sam Amico. He said, the Wizards are believed to be interested in Patrick Williams. He wrote an article about that. And listen, my overall just initial response to this was, as it stands right now, I am not trading Patrick Williams. I think the Bulls need to stand pat. Don't move off him. I know we may be saying, well, he's the 4th overall pick. We're going to lose him in the offseason regardless if we don't extend him. Might as well get something for him. However, I would say this. I want to see how he will play without LaVine and DeMar in the lineup more. Just frankly, we haven't seen that enough. And all the Patrick Williams, I guess, truthers always argue, well, he needs more shot attempts. He just needs a higher usage rate on this team, and he will develop, obviously quicker and better. Well, let's see it. I have been so disappointed in his game this year. He's turned back into passive Pete, but I'm not willing to give up on him just yet because when he does make those splash plays, those kind of highlight plays, you really see the full potential in his game. And I'm not saying he could be Kawhi Leonard because obviously we heard that's an extreme comparison for him, but I really do believe he could be a strong 3-and-D player in the NBA. And those 3-and-D kind of long archetype players in the league, they translate to winning. They always have, and they're always extremely valuable on the market. Keep that in mind. So I'd stand pat on P-Dub, keep on this Bulls roster, see him develop, or you could up his trade value for possibly next season. But I'll ask you guys, do you still have confidence in Patrick Williams? Give me a Y for yes or give me an N for no down in the comment section. I'm still going to be typing my Y for yeses. I think he'll turn out to be a solid ball player in the league. And as always, give me a follow on Twitter. At Pat Sieps is the Twitter handle. I'll be tweeting about the Bulls all year long. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you guys on the next edition of the Bulls Report. Go Bulls.